Alright, we have not got a bingo card ready for this. I don't think it's really necessary. Oh, here we go. Oh, we're starting off with a trailer. I'm turning it up.
So Kepler's a place touched by the Nine, concealing a lot of secrets and danger. And it's somewhere that human scientists traveled to a long time ago to research a dormant singularity.
Okay.
While living on Kepler, not only did they observe the collapse, they survived it.
Mysteries of Kepler.
And over time, the ideals of the scientific process they held to were enshrined in their culture, and they came to be known as the Ionians. The Elixni House of Exile arrived during the Dark Age, weary from the Long Drift. They didn't invade Earth with the other Elixni houses. Instead, they sought a new home, which they found alongside the Ionians.
Okay.
But the dark matter that permeates Kepler and that they converted into the ether they need to survive ended up being toxic. So when the Ionians failed to cure them, the house rose up under an archon, claiming to be blessed with prophetic sight. Now, the House of Exile is full of zealots. And they'll stand opposed to the Guardian as they walk the winding pathways of Kepler, learning more about what called them there in the first place. Guardian's paracausal power acts as a catalyst for the normally corrosive force of dark matter. These new powers will allow them to unlock long-sealed passageways for the Ionians as they make their way to the singularity at the core of the planetoid.
So from the start, we focused on building Kepler as more of a dungeon-like destination. It expands on the interconnected world design of places like the Leviathan or the Shattered Throne.
So it's a small map is what they're saying.
As you fight your way across Kepler, you tap into dark matter abilities and unlock enemy tech that expands your navigation and aids you in combat. These are all about going places you would normally think are out of reach.
Matterspark has you turn into this wild ball of arc energy. It's like nothing we've done in Destiny before. The Mattermorph ability lets you twist the objects in the world around you.
With Relocator, you've essentially co-opted the Fallen's teleportation networks and can use it to cross gaps you wouldn't have even considered before.
It'll be the small tells, an open vent, a broken window, things you want to remember because you might be revisiting them later.
Abilities can be upgraded, so as you unlock new perks, you can chain them into your build crafting in clever ways.
By far the most game-changing is one of Matterspark's upgrades. On Kepler, it lets you turn into Matterspark the same way you'd summon a sparrow, wherever and whenever. It will optimize not only exploration, but also combat on future playthroughs in super creative ways.
They're talking a lot about
cool combinations. You can suspend an enemy with Mattermorph, bend a path up toward the sky, and then in mid-air, leap into Matterspark to dash across the arena and arc chain a group of enemies.
The team has already seen players pairing abilities with different exotic perks and aspects to create some really crazy builds.
We know this is only the beginning and can't wait to see what happens once players get their hands on this kit.
That reminded me of Miles Underrush a little bit there. Yeah, I don't know. If the entire location is purely just mapped around using those abilities, then there's not really going to be much exploration.
All right. Hello, welcome to Bungie, and welcome to our Destiny 2 Edge of Fate live stream. This will be the first live stream that we have leading into launch. Big shout out to the folks that we had on our Dev Insight video. We were just talking about Kepler, destination abilities, some of the secrets of Kepler and the Aeonians, but we're going to leave that for a later date for you to discover. Today we're going to be talking a bunch about Sandbox. We have a bunch of core feature updates with Armor 3.0, gear tiering, some new loot for you to grind out, and a bunch of cool things to show. So without further ado, let's get to it. Each class is going to get one new exotic. Each embrace a different sort of vibe or theme. And
so this is Warlock.
Yeah, you can see him on screen. I think first we're going to start with the Warlock exotic. And Bjorndal, you have all the details.
Sure.
Say the name.
Yeah, so first we have Eunoia, which is Warlock exotic themed around the Hellion aspect. What this does is after your Hellion fires, after a certain amount of time, the projectile is going to shatter into a bunch of submunitions that will like seek nearby units and scorch them. And so it kind of like adds a little bit of like skill play to something that was kind of more of a passive aspect in the past.
Yeah, and I think in the shooting range we can see like it can be both a single target or a group sort of ad clear exotic, right?
Yeah. It can kind of serve multiple roles, just kind of like amping up something that was like a trusty
I like how it
tool to do
tracks. That's
something
pretty cool.
A little more that you have to like manually aim.
Yeah, and you can like, because it like splits in mid-flight, you can kind of like control your spacing to like control the grouping of it. If you want to hit one target, you know, if you're at the right
a little bit
distance, you'll hit
closer.
all 5. Yeah, and they'll like burst way earlier than before. Or if you like get way back, you can just blanket a region.
Love it. Yeah, and we can see on the screen too, like some of the looks of the exotic and the Hellion have changed.
Yeah, so like while you're using the exotic, the Hellion itself, like the little solar buddy, will have the same X that the gauntlets do. So it's like a nice,
Oh, I
nice
see.
little nod to like match the exotic.
Love it.
This thing looks so metal. I'm like so about having that big gas canister on my arm, having that like flamethrower.
It does
Warlock
look
arm.
nice.
It's so cool. I may have to start switching play Warlock.
Love it. Next up, I believe we have Hunter on docket.
Yeah, so the Hunter exotic is Morai, which is a strand-themed exotic that's about your threaded spike and tangles, where you can basically like yo-yo a tangle from out in the field back in your hand and then throw it again. So the way this works is if you have a tangle out in the field and you throw your strand Hunter melee at it,
Oh my God.
it'll pop the tangle and then bring one back to you that if you catch the spike, you'll get another tangle. So you can like duplicate a tangle, which works really well with a lot of Strand Hunter aspects like Whirling Maelstrom and just like the existing tie-in with like grappling to a tangle.
Oh, boy.
You get like even more
That annoys me.
mobility and a lot of like ad clear potential. And also it will return more energy when you catch it as well. So like
Shoot
even if
the
you
tangle. There you
don't
go.
hit anything or you don't grab a tangle, so it helps you keep that engine going.
Yeah, you can see the strand energy attached to the
That's
spike.
disgusting.
So if you grab that, I love how we're rewarding that like perfect grab.
Yeah.
I
It's
can already hear people yelling "spin to win" as they're
Yeah.
spamming these things, right?
Yeah, I mean you can have 3 Beyblades out in the field at any time essentially. It's
And you're like
That's
zipping
kinda
between
wild.
the tangles with grapple. It's
Yeah.
cool as hell.
it's very strong. It's also going to be very strong with this artifact
Oh, yes.
upcoming, which we'll talk about. But another cool tidbit about this is the threaded spike will bounce to the tangle from enemies as well.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's something that has a lot of easy use and really rewards skill at the same time.
Yeah, I think before we move on to Titans, and sorry, Titans, we'll get to you in a second. Really cool exotic. I do want to talk about Gambler's Dodge. In the last TWID, we talked about a bunch of abilities changes, exotic tuning, that kind of stuff. And we saw some chatter around Gambler's Dodge. It was updated and reworked, right?
Yeah, we have reworked Gambler's Dodge. So it's the energy you get when you dodge now scales on your melee stat, but
Okay.
you no longer have to dodge near enemies to get that energy.
It just
So I
happens.
can dodge anywhere in the game. I don't have to worry about this invisible circle that's around me to know if I'm close enough. It is going to feel more consistent. If I build into melee, it's going to feel more powerful. There's also, Taylor, you were talking about the multiple charges,
That's
right?
fucking
So
mental.
if you, like our bar for a lot of this stuff is if you are at 70 stat, you'll get the full refund like
That's
you used
mad.
to. But if you go beyond that, you'll actually get a little bit more, which most of the time doesn't matter. But like if you're using like a Fiddy Spade or any of the multi melee things or Stasis Shurikens, it'll go up to like 1 1/3 charges. So you can keep that going even better if you're fully invested in melee. So you have like more reasons like to invest in it. If you want more melees, you want them to be more damaging, then you just go all in on that, and it will still do stuff.
Like just so many shurikens.
Yeah.
Just an embarrassment of shurikens.
Which is great. Like
Freeze everything in front of you. right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then I won't be bothering you and saying, "Don't kill this thing. Let me do my dodge."
Yeah,
anytime.
you can just do it wherever
Oh
you
yeah,
want.
I guess
So
so.
yeah, let's go on to Titans. So this one thematically, I think, for me at least, I'm just like, you're a Forge Master.
Yeah. So this is
This is
Melis
actually a cool
Panoplia,
one.
which is an
A
exotic
hard name to say.
Yeah.
As we get deeper into Destiny, the names get a little. Yeah, but go ahead.
It's it's an exotic themed around something that people have been asking for a long time, which is kind of the fantasy of Thor's hammer. Of I want to be able to pull my hammer back to me after I throw it. So there's like a little minigame loop here where you get a fire sprite, you pick it up, then you get a buff that lets you pull the hammer back to you. And if you pull the hammer back with good timing, it'll explode and to
That
like
actually
solar
looks
shrapnel
so
and hit stuff
sick.
for like extra damage on the way back. Kind of like how hammer saw works. And
Look
I
at the
think
weight
hammer
of it
also
as
will
well when
damage
you grab
things
it.
on the return trip too. So if you position yourself well, you can actually like send it back through guys.
Line 'em up.
Back,
Yeah.
Yeah, we've wanted to do this for a long time, but it's been kind of a scary,
complicated.
Yeah, it's hard to balance this sort of thing where it's like it returns all your energy, but it also, you can pull it back to you at any time. So Alex, our designer, really knocked it out of the park as far as
it came out so well.
the balance and the activator
That's so sick,
and
man.
the
Performance.
Yeah, the performance.
Yeah. You were talking about the animation, right?
Yeah.
Before this.
I love the performance on this thing. We've got like this beat where it's like all this magnetic like handshaking and it feels so good. We actually did like a new tech thing on this where if you're like looking off to the side, we kind of move the player's hand a little bit so you're like
Oh,
still
yeah, I
constantly
see.
pulling the hammer. And that's like the first time we've done that with like a world object and it's very cool. It feels really good.
Awesome. Vivian, you have been very excited about a new weapon archetype that is coming with the Edge
It's
of Fate.
the shotgun
Sure
hand cannon or
am.
whatever, right?
So for centuries, humanity has wondered, like, what would a legendary bow look like in the heavy slot? And today I have your answer. For Edge of Fate, we are building a crossbow. This is so it plays like a new archetype, but it is
Oh my
technically
God.
a bow for the purposes of, like it's gonna fill all your bounties, that kind of stuff. Now, so when we went to go make this, we knew it was a very cool fantasy, right? We want the feeling of like really drawing it back and it hitting a single target and doing a ton of damage. But we do have linear fusion rifles, right? And that's always the question is like, what does this do
And
that's
Leviathan's
different? What's
Breath.
the fun gameplay here? And we settled on, well, when you shoot that big heavy bolt and it hits your target, you can just go pick it back up. So this thing theoretically is a heavy weapon with unlimited ammo.
Oh my
You
God.
can use the same bolt for an entire Nightfall if you want. I would love to see someone do that. Go clear a dungeon without ever using anything else or whatever, It's very cool. You have to put yourself in danger. You have to go grab it.
I might
but
do that.
It's just such a
On the
satisfying
prophecy.
loop to just like pull it out of some, dead hive. Just put it in the rail, pull it back, use the same bolt to shoot someone
I need
else.
to see
It's great.
gameplay of this.
Last week in a PvP playtest, I saw someone run the entire map with a single bolt, and they just kept it alive for minutes on end.
That was me. I'm sorry.
I can hear the PvP mains like when you said infinite heavy ammo, they're like, excuse me,
Yeah,
but it's like you gotta go.
You
pick
gotta
that
go
thing up.
get it. Yeah. So it's not free, but it is very potent.
Yeah, and in PvP, you only get the one. You got to get the headshot, and it's very funny. It ends up being like this game of like keep away, where you're like, we cannot let Taylor get near this thing.
So as we're going into this activity, we'll get some gameplay.
That's so
footage.
interesting.
This is a good example of the portal
Oh,
system
this
that
is
we'll be
it.
talking about next week on July 1st. Make sure to tune in. But we're going to be taking some content from just the history of Destiny, and it will be in the.
Bro, we got
portal
crossbows
play.
in Destiny
Power
now.
Progression. We'll be talking about that next week, so stay tuned for that.
Go pick up the
back
arrow.
To the heavy crossbow though. You were talking about this being legendary, so that means random rolls, and you had mentioned bolts.
Yes, yeah. So we had a really fun opportunity when we were making this, where we go to the talent grid, and we always want to make stuff kind of like new and different. And we got to the talent grid, and we were like, this thing does not have a magazine. We cannot put magazines on this, right? And it gave us the opportunity to like really go, what would like a different magazine plug system look like? And so what we ended up going for is like, we have bolt types, and the bolt types, instead of just being stats, they're going to alter the way the bolt
Change
actually
the
behaves out in
weapon.
the world.
Yeah.
So we've got, one of them is like explosive bolt, where it's gonna put in a target, it'll like beep, 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 and it'll just explode, kind of like a grenade launcher. And then we have, my personal favorite is that we have serrated bolts. I remembered to say the shipping name this time.
Oh, you can say, if it doesn't have 3 names, it's not real game dev.
Yeah.
I never know when things go live. I never know. I'm like, oh, you guys know better than I do the names.
Go ahead.
But so we have serrated bolts, and you can put like the bolt in a target with serrated bolts, and you can normally draw them back.
I
off living
really like the
targets, but if
animation
you
of
have
this
serrated
thing.
bolts, they're gonna deal damage on the exit too. And it is so satisfying to like land the final hit with the pull, and you just pull back your bolts and you get them, and they just go flying.
I'll take that back. Yeah. When you first brought this up, I was just like, that's so metal. Like, yeah. Gimme.
I love that our damage numbers have been squished a little bit, so they actually mean something now. Because if you look at how much damage this bow is doing compared to like each one of those pellets in the hand cannon.
Right.
Like when like in the live game where it's like I did 20,000 damage with a shot. It's like
it's hard to compare.
Yeah, start to be meaningless.
Yeah,
But
Max.
for me,
There you go.
We've just changed so much, and I can't overstate.
Say goodbye
like,
to your 8 million damage.
Yeah, how much has changed and how this game is.
I wonder how easy it would be to get even just 1 million
and all of
damage
those
now.
changes are like, they go hand in hand, right? Like us changing the stats around, you know, us making new builds possible. A lot of these changes are all like, they're all going to kind of combine to create something new.
Yeah. Did you see that front shielded ogre? With
boy.
we have a new. We'll talk about this next week.
Yeah.
But the new Banes.
Oh, there's a stream
are
next
incredible.
week.
I'm very excited for players.
Oh boy, yeah.
play with.
New Banes,
It's
new
on the
modifiers,
1st
all
of
that kind of
July.
stuff. And then the final,
Is that a Tuesday,
final
is
weapon
it?
we got on tap is going to be a special weapon, another
Believe
burst.
so.
Shoots explosives.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So I know a lot of people are big fans of rocket-assisted sidearms. Now we have a rocket-assisted frame.
This
pulse
gives me
rifle.
Deep Stone Crypt vibes.
So that fits
The red
a
and
similar
blue
role,
weapons
but a
that
little
they
bit
gave
different.
us.
It's a little more ammo hungry than the sidearms. It got a bit more range and hits a bit harder. So it kind of fits in between like a fusion rifle and a sniper rifle. Also kind of fires a little bit differently than pulse rifles, which is
Let's see it.
interesting, just because like all of our pulse rifles have like different burst delay, but when you're firing each pulse, they all have like the same rate of fire. So this, instead of being like the
Oh, you can feel
it's
that
like
it's
a bop, bop,
heavier.
bop. So it feels heavier and it's
Oh,
firing
he
these,
literally
like
just said that
big,
as well.
slower projectiles, so it feels chunkier.
Thank you for doing a Dave Samuel impression there.
I aspire to greatness.
Yeah.
This thing is like real cool. It's real heavy, but it's also like, you know, like we said, it's like pretty ammo hungry. One of the cool things about 900 is
Oh,
like,
it's special
we can-
ammo.
We have the ammo stat. You know, you can build into that. You can eliminate that downside, and now you can see
Special
Yeah,
pulse.
same for the longbow too. Like
That's
there were some
crazy.
perks
Oh
on
my
Red
God,
Pulse that you
special
can go in,
pulse.
Less than the draw time. Like,
I like
it's
that.
Still going to be a little bit slow fiery, heavy hitting, but there's a bunch of ways that you can build craft and tune these things to feel good for your play.
Like you have like one for all or other things that care about hitting multiple targets.
Yeah, right. So as we're going through this transition, we actually have a bunch more to cover, and gear tiering has been top of mind for a lot of players ever since our reveal stream. So Eric, I'd love to dive in and just revisit what's the high-level vision statement for gear tiering and how we're getting players reinvested in some of that.
Yeah, so gear tiering
Grapple?
enables players to look at a piece of gear at a glance and like understand how powerful it is. So you can see those kind of 5 icons or 5
This
little
is where
dots
we're
there.
going to be
This is
spending most of our
a
time, Max.
5th tier armor piece we're looking at. And the stat package or the stat pool that each piece gives is going to depend on the tier. So you can see at tier 1 is going to drop between 52 and 57 stat totals. And then at tier 5, you are guaranteed 75 stats plus stat tuning, which lets you kind of add some.
Yeah, shout out to, there were a bunch of folks that were asking what are stat bands, because in the game right now it's what is low to a given player. Like 62 feels low, but an actual definition is like 58 or lower.
Yeah.
In the game now, we have UI that tells you exactly what are the stat bands for each of
That's
the tiers,
good.
so you know what you're looking for as you're trying to build a 200 or 150 or whatever you're looking for.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I love that we did this because this is the most common question I get in my clan that I answer, and I love that you can just go see it now.
Yeah, having information in a game is great. Like
Yeah,
the biggest
100%.
thing about this is that because the bands are a lot narrower, you have a much better expectation of what you're getting like before you even start the activity. So, like I know a lot of people like you go into a master dungeon to farm some artifice armor, and you don't know if you're going to get like 55 or 70.
Yeah, and
It's
what
like
does that mean?
Extremely wide range, but like that takes a lot of time and effort to get through. So now it's just like you're going into the toppest end difficulty thing to get tier 5s. You know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
So
and
it's significantly more likely that when you get your drop, it's going to be something valuable. It might not be valuable to your exact build, but it will be valuable. It'll be the stats total that you want.
I love it.
Eric?
Yeah, and with the new portal system, which we'll talk about next week, you're going to have a score goal that you want to hit to get that exact armor piece, and it's like more targeted farming or more targeted. You know, if I want to chase a certain thing, like I know what I have to do to get it, and when it drops, I know.
I wonder if
what
they
it's gonna
edited the
give me,
ghost whereby you can
as far as
farm
the,
for like a specific stat.
the total value.
They
Right?
probably
And
did,
it's just
right?
much more clear.
Seen it already.
and exciting.
And go ahead.
I really like, we're mousing over here, the armor archetype. We now like display what things are going to be high on it and what things are going to be low. And they're like a little further apart where things are going to be spikier now. And so like, if you want to really max out stats, you can just look for that, emblem. You'll know what your armor is kind of like going to be good at. And it's
you can see that like at the your main inventory.
Yeah, that's good.
level,
So
too.
primary
you're just,
weapon,
mousing
secondary
over,
grenade.
Oh, I just got a bunch of drops. What did I get? Cool. Is it gunner? Is it grenadier?
That makes it so easy.
What
yes,
is the thing
that's
that I want?
more
You can use
weapon,
a quick reference
secondary
rather than
grenade,
to go all the way
more
into
grenade,
inspection and
secondary
see,
super.
Exact stats.
And the
more
last,
weapon, secondary
the
grenade.
last detail on tier 5 for armor, we mentioned this in the reveal stream, but you can get to 11
automatic
energy
indicator
for your armor. So it helps with build crafting. You can get more of those armor mods slotted and that kind of stuff.
It goes to 11 now.
Yeah, right.
It's
So
just
switching
better,
over to weapons, though, I would love to. We have some examples of tier 1, tier 3, and tier 5 weapons to show what is that progression looking like.
Yeah, similarly, when a weapon drops, I'm able to just glance at it and be like,
trash.
tier 1 weapon, it's going to have base stats, it's going to have a limited perk pool there.
Wow.
But then you can see at tier 3.
It actually
we now
tells you.
have 2 enhanced traits. We have some of our columns are going to have more perk options in them. And then tier 5, so this is a tier 3. And then tier 5 is going to have even more. Like, look at the options
God.
here, and so much enhancement. And we
tier
have
4, you get the enhanced weapon
Yes,
mods
please.
too.
right.
Yeah, kind of like how armor is like you have a much better understanding of like when I'm starting an activity. what
Mate,
is it,
that
what condition of
hatchling
things I'm
slice
getting.
looks
This,
very
like,
lovely.
The multi-perk and the enhanced perks kind of work for that too. So the odds of you getting that like specific god roll or
It's got
multi-god
quick
roll,
launch on that because
if you're
it
looking
shoots
for,
the
like,
rocket.
combo PvP, PvE weapon.
Yeah,
are
we're
a
adding.
lot higher.
That's crazy.
Than like in past activities where you're just getting I'm going to get 1 adept with 1 trait in each column.
Yeah, and we're adding a lot of depth. Like as we were hovering over those enhanced perks, they have additional things that they can do, whether it be stats or power for the perk. We're putting all of these details into the game so people know as they're getting into this depth, they can hover over these things, understand all the different stats. We'll, of course, have blog components. We'll have some guides that our players make, our creators make. We'll blast those out. But we're hoping to bring more of these sorts of things into the game to make it easier to understand. So,
Yeah, that said, if you have a great weapon drop that, dropped this season or 5 seasons ago, if it's a good roll, it's a good roll. Like it's, just because it doesn't necessarily adhere to the tier system doesn't mean it is not equal or greater value in some
yeah, there was this really funny reference that Mactix made, one of our creators, where he had this beautiful giant sword, and he's like, this is what I got today, and it has perfect rolls for a rocket launcher, et cetera, and here's my new tier 1 weapon that doesn't really have good perks. Like, what are you going to use?
Yeah.
So to answer the question, Shadow on Blue Sky was asking, are my weapons that I have right now or armor, like, is that going to be viable in high-end content?
Yeah, we
And
had
the
that
answer is
question.
Of course. There are going to be a couple things in here that add incentive to try out new things, but Vivian, you had kind of framed it as a cherry on top, right?
Right. Yeah. And it's also like a way to, in the past, sometimes like the best way to get your path to power was like to do a lot of something. But now if you like do really hard activities as well, we're also just kind of rewarding you for the time there.
Yeah. So right at the
Talk
9.
about
go
future gear stuff in relation to this.
Yeah, we will in a second, but I just wanted to touch on right at the 9. Some folks were asking, like, what do these equate to in the tier system? And when you get an adept right at the 9 weapon, both of your columns are enhanced, all that kind of stuff. Like, it looks like a tier 3. It's going to feel like a tier 3 for a while. So there is a good handshake as you're going into Edge of Fate. But yeah, the last thing for tier 5 gear, I would like to show the cosmetic treatment that we've been doing. We showed this in the reveal stream, but tier 5s have an awesome new shader treatment and also kill effects.
Yeah, so
Oh my
these
God.
basically on the weapons, they'll come with like fancy shader
Looks
on it,
good.
and then something almost kind of similar to what we do with Sweaty Confetti, but now it's like a specific slot where it gets a
Sparks,
custom kill effect
everlasting.
that only comes on the tier 5 variant.
Yeah, and you can see with gear tiering, it's kind of learning a bunch of lessons through the years of Destiny. Like, kill effects are really cool. Players like this. Now we have a new slot for it. Players really like hollow foils as a chase in the game right now, and now we have tier 5s where you get sort of a hollow foil style treatment for it. So it's been really cool to watch y'all develop this over time.
Yeah, so if you see that little kind of teal icon in the top left corner of the armor piece, that is going to that's going to tell me that it is in the new gear pool. So
Looks
it's
like
not
a timer.
only gear from this season, or release, but it is also gear. It's like a collection of exotic pieces as well.
Yeah,
So-
if we hop into the collections really quick, there's actually a new section that's going to show
keep your eyes
here's
filled.
our featured gear. So if you have some things from previous releases, those are going to be a part of the building or build crafting as well.
Correct.
A note for any newer players or returning players, some of these things are actually like, you can go to Xur, try to grab those. You can go into Rite of the Nine. Emissary is going to have a few things like Graviton Lance. That's a great thing to pick up before this new release starts, so then you have a little bit of an edge going in.
Yeah, if y'all screenshot this, you can start hunting this stuff down right now, right?
Yeah, and we will have follow-up blogs where we're going to go line by line. I understand, like, this stream has a lot of data. It has a lot of numbers, that kind of stuff. Big lists of gear. We'll have a full bulleted list, not just in TWIDs, but in patch notes as we keep going.
Some of my favorite perks in these are in the fifth column. There's that first one is Radiant Shrapnel. And this is gonna add like an additive shrapnel burst when you're killing guys when they're radiant, or when you're radiant, or they are scorched. And I actually really like that, like, we pay out scorched a little, because like sometimes you can't quite get that ignition, you know.
That'd be
It's
good for
going to
you,
pair
Max.
really well with the Warlock exotic that's coming out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. You could scorch a bunch of guys, and then you can cause them to alt burst. It's very cool. The fourth one in this column
Strand.
also is a favorite of mine. It's Tangle.
Oh, that'd be
Web.
good for hunters.
And this is going to suspend everyone when you generate a tangle via combat. And normally we do that effect. We reserve that effect for breaking the tangle, right? And now it's
So
like
just-
on creation,
just-
and
wow.
it leads to a very fun situation where you can just kind of walk up and take it, and you're like, "Thank you, guys. I'll be back." And they can't do anything.
Pick up
It
where a
kinda
tangle
keeps you
grants
there
increased damage to
faster if you're
weapons
not using,
of
like,
the same
Gravity
element.
Grenade or something.
It works really well with the Hunter exotic.
It also works
Yeah.
really well with the Hunter exotic. It's lots of fun.
Just because this is information heavy, as I mentioned, we do have a slate of blog content that'll be coming live. We'll have a recap on Thursday. We have a standalone next Wednesday that'll talk a little bit more about gear tiering. Next Thursday, we'll also have another recap for that stream and additional sandbox information. And then we keep marching into launch with more patch note previews, gear previews.
The
all that
final
kind of
stream
stuff.
might be
So
juicy.
outside of the full suite of gear you'll be earning on Kepler, bunch of stuff to discover. So thank you so much again for joining. This has been a fun stream. And as we leave, we're going to toss you over to our good friend Fallout. He's going to be talking through a bunch of what we said today. He was one of the creators that we invited to Bungie with hands-on, so he can explain some things. And we'll be collecting questions throughout the rest of the day to answer in the TWID. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Fair enough. All right. Wow. Okay. Very quickly, Max, what do you think?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, okay, so I'm going to be honest. There wasn't really anything there that made me, other than the new archetype, there wasn't really anything there that made me go, wow, that's insane. The new archetype weapon, the heavy bow, cool. Very cool. How viable is it going to be? I don't know. Obviously, because I've not tried it yet. But the main notes that I want to take away from this is, one, big dick damage is no longer a term anymore that I think is going to be used when it comes to endgame content, because, like, I don't think we're really going to be seeing 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil damage anymore. Especially when a crit is like 120. You know what I mean? So, and that was from that heavy bow. So yeah, I don't know how people are going to take to that, because people are so used to saying, oh my god, I just did 53k damage, or my T-Crash just did 200,000 damage, all this stupid shit. So, I don't know. We'll see how people take to low damage numbers. The gear system, I think, is insane. I cannot wait to try that. One thing that it does bring to my mind is, you know how we have like 1 or 2 armor pieces that basically fits every single stat build that we want to make? That basically is no longer going to be a thing now, because different armor sets is going to have like a focus stat. So rather than what we have right now, where every stat has something which gradually works towards a type of stat build that we're going to put together, we now have focus grenade, focus melee, focus super energy. So it is going to be the case of, okay, I'm farming this armor set for this build. However, if I want to do a completely different build, I can't just tweak the armor set I've got. I need to go back out there and get more armors. You know what I mean? So the armor section of our loadout is going to be full with a lot more stuff. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm overall excited for it. I love build crafting in this game. I love being able to just execute like high. high damage, insane shit when it comes to like my Warlock build where I use the melee that I put together myself with no help whatsoever. And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I think it's going to be cool. I do think it was good that DMG addressed the prophecy weapons, because a lot of people, including myself, went into the dungeon stuff basically just saying, like, how viable is this going to be in the next game or the next, you know, major update. It's the equivalent it is the equivalent of a tier 3 is what he's saying. So like 2 less than what a max tier weapon is going to be. Anyway, Max, are we jumping on Destiny?
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing that concerns me, and I am going to be real, and I don't mean to be, well, actually, I don't really care about being that guy, to be honest with you. Kepler does not look like a location at all. Kepler just looks like an area for you to explore mechanically with these new abilities. You know what I mean? Anyway, guys, if you are watching this as a video right now, thank you so much for sticking around. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next lump of content that I bring out in regards to Edge of Fate. Guys, thank you so much, and take care.